Hi, I'm Emily. I've teamed up with Hobbycraft to show you some really beautiful ways of decorating your Easter eggs this year. Now don't forget, if you're using real eggs, you're going to have to blow them first, simply by making a hole at the top of the egg and the bottom using a pin, and then blowing the contents into a bowl. So let's get cracking. Why not add a bit of luxury to your eggs this year by adding some artificial gold leaf or copper leaf? You will need eggs or ceramic eggs, a couple of paintbrushes, some paint, a small roll of tape, a soft brush, artificial gold and copper leaf, gilding paste or size. Place a roll of the tape down on your work surface, then use this to keep your egg in position. Apply some paint to the egg, all the way down to where the egg sits in the tape. Once it's dry, paint the underside of the egg and then leave to dry completely. Using a different paintbrush, apply some of the gilding paste to the areas of the egg that you would like the gold or copper leaf to go. Wait about 10 minutes until the gilding paste has gone tacky and then sprinkle on some of the copper leaf. Then use a brush to position and stick them in place. Continue adding paste and copper leaf to the whole egg, then once dry, brush off any excess with a soft brush. I'm going to be showing you a really quick and easy way of pressing flowers and leaves so you can use them straight away. You will need eggs or ceramic eggs, paints, a paintbrush, PVA glue, fine brush for gluing, some flowers for pressing, a flower press and a microwave. Start by balancing an egg onto a small roll of tape to prevent it from rolling away. Then apply some paint onto the egg all the way down to where the egg sits on the tape. Once dry, paint the underside of the egg, then leave to dry completely. Paint some more eggs in different colours. Alternatively, you can leave your egg natural. Open up the flower press, then place a cotton sheet squarely on top of the felt pads. Start arranging your flowers and leaves. Place the second piece of cotton on top of the flowers, followed by the other felt pad. Then close the flower press completely by sliding in the hinge pin. Following the instructions, place the flower press into a microwave along with a cupful of water and heat for 20 seconds. Wait until it's cool to the touch, then open up the flower press. Some larger flowers may need longer. Carefully peel the flowers and leaves off the cotton sheet and place them onto a plate. Using a fine paintbrush or a cocktail stick, apply some glue onto the back of the flower or leaf and carefully position onto an egg. But watch out, they can be very delicate and can break easily. Continue adding flowers and leaves to your painted eggs, then leave them to dry. And how's this for a super cute idea? I've painted these natural coloured eggs to look like two otters holding hands. You will need brown eggs, brown card, a paint palette, a jar of water and kitchen roll, paints in shades of brown, pale pink and white, scissors, a black fine line pen, different size paintbrushes, a hot glue gun or strong glue. If you don't feel confident painting straight onto the egg, sketch out your otter design first on paper. Then use a pencil to lightly draw your otter onto the egg. Mix up some pale brown paint, then use a paintbrush to apply this to the egg, following your pencil lines. Use a fine paintbrush to paint the feet and the arm. Once the brown paint is dry, use a fine paintbrush with a little white paint for the otter's cheeks. Then use the white paint for her paws, then add some dashes on her tummy so it looks like fur, then leave to dry. Use a black pen to draw on her nose and whiskers and eyes, as if she's asleep. Take a piece of brown cardboard and fold it in half. Draw on an ear at the very edge, then cut out. Draw one arm in pencil and cut this out too. Apply a little white paint to create a paw, then leave to dry. Using a hot glue gun, kids, make sure you ask an adult to help you. Apply some glue to the edge of the otter's ears and position in place. Using a pair of tweezers can really help here. You can then make a male otter using a darker brown paint. Then position your otters side by side as if holding hands. Here I've used decoupage to decorate this egg. You will need eggs, decoupage papers, scissors, decoupage brush and decoupage glue. Start by cutting 1 cm strips of some decoupage paper. You only need about 5 or 6. Then cut 1 cm strips from a different patterned decoupage paper. Apply a thin layer of the adhesive to the egg with a brush. Then take a strip of paper and place it onto the adhesive. Use the brush to smooth it down. Then take a strip of a different patterned paper, position it so it just overlaps the first strip, and stick in place with the brush, adding more adhesive on the top. Keep working your way around the egg until it's completely covered in strips of decoupage paper. Snip off the excess paper from the top and bottom with scissors and neaten by applying some adhesive over the top with a brush. Cut out some flowers from a floral pattern decoupage paper. When you have a few of the flowers cut out, apply some adhesive to the egg. Position one of the flowers onto the egg and smooth down with a brush. Continue positioning and gluing flowers around the egg until you are happy with how it looks. Alternatively, you could just stick one single flower to the front of the egg. Or how about using something as simple as food colouring to dye your eggs? But watch out, it does stain the fingers a bit. You will need eggs, white duck eggs work the best, food dye, jug of water, a spoon, a selection of small cups. Take your food dye and squeeze a few drops into a cup. Here we've used red. Pour in a little water, but not too much as you don't want it to overflow when you put your egg in. Carefully place the egg into the cup. You can then add more water if needed to fully submerge it. Leave to soak for about an hour. Follow the same technique with some more eggs using different colours this time. Put some red food dye into another cup. Either dilute it or leave it as it is. Take the pre-dyed red egg and dip in the lower half of the egg, then place on some tissue to dry. Try creating new colours by mixing dyes. Here we mixed up the blue and the red to create a deep purpley grey colour. Continue experimenting with different strengths of dye and leaving the eggs for shorter or longer amounts of time. Marbling can look absolutely stunning on an egg. Here I've used it on a ceramic egg, but it works equally well on real eggs too. You will need a large container with 1 litre of water, kitchen towel, eggs or ceramic eggs, a plate, a whisk, electric is best, teaspoon, marbling bath, marbling inks, a cocktail stick and a small roll of tape. Take your container with the 1 litre of water and add 2 teaspoons of the marbling bath. Then whisk together, ideally with an electric whisk. You want to act quickly so the powder doesn't clump together. Leave the mixture to sit for 2 hours. Take one of the coloured marbling inks and use the pipette to drop in a few spots of colour into the mix. It should sit on the top of the mixture. Take a second colour and add a few more drops of colour. Then use a cocktail stick to create pretty patterns and swirls into the ink. Take an egg and place it into the ink. The marbled pattern will transfer onto the surface of the egg. Then place on a piece of kitchen towel to dry. Try using a ceramic egg. Use the string to dunk the egg into the marbling bath. This is a much cleaner way of doing it. Try experimenting with dipping just half the egg or using a pre-painted egg for a different effect. Then leave the eggs to dry completely. Give your hands a good clean. I really hope you enjoyed my 6 egg decorating ideas for Easter. Don't forget to check out the Ideas Hub for even more inspiration.